Hello.
This is weird.
It's nice. It reminds me of the old days, Chris. When it was just me and you. Hello, if you're listening right now. Well, I guess you are. This is Mark here, Mark Grist. Thank you so much for joining us for We the Poets. It's a bit of a chilled out episode, this one. This is kind of a bottle episode, I suppose. And I've got myself and Chris Barn here. As beardy as ever. You lost a little bit of weight, Chris.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Yeah,
mate.
but you're doing a bit of running.
Bit of runnage. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 miles a week. No, it's going good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, and we're just here at the moment because it's the summer holidays. We said we'd have like a little episode to kind of just chat about how we're finding this series. We made a series called Right Club Open Mic, which a lot of people sent work into, and we're kind of playing that through. And now we're obviously making We the Poets. So, Chris, how have you found this project?
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, it's good. It's like anything, isn't it? You kind of, more projects like this you do, you kind of learn a lot more as you go, which is invaluable. But yeah, it's been really good fun. It's really good fun.
First time around, if you've listened to Right Club Open Mic, Chris, you were quite present, right? Your voice was present.
I was a star, Mark. Yeah.
The bread-based chat was vital, but now we don't really hear you on this series.
No,
but that's because we've got a lot more voices, right?
Yes, yep, exactly.
How has it been trying to manage the mic for like 4 different voices?
Yeah, I think the approach is the same. It's obviously harder for the technicals of it, but it's been good fun. It's nice to hear different voices now. I think podcasts are quite nice when there's a bit more vibe in it, and that's kind of works. So
I've got something from every guest that's been on so far, and you don't write poetry.
No,
Chris.
No.
So how has it been for you hearing the guests?
It's been good. I mean, often it's the first time I've heard it, and obviously I think it's the first time people are here in the room. But it's nice to hear the live element to it. I think because a lot of the time we've had poets coming in where they've done a piece where they've performed it there and then, and I like that element to it. I think that's quite a nice thing to hear.
And what else have you been working on? Because I haven't seen you for
ages, man.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. We've had loads of bands in, loads of voiceovers, secret projects, which have been good, secret-tastic. So, yeah, loads of those bits and pieces, but mixed bag as always. Pods, voiceovers, bands, composition.
There's still just as much foam as the first time I came in. Maybe more.
There is a tiny piece more of foam.
Chris loves his foam.
Can't get enough foam.
Kind of like a maze of foam.
Tetris foam.
Yeah, kind of gathered around us. Yeah, it's nice to be back here. Very different from the environments I've been in the last few weeks.
Yeah, you've been manic. You've been everywhere, haven't you?
It's been busy, yeah. I've been Nottinghamshire libraries, touring those. I've been visiting lots of schools, and now we're in the holidays. I went up to Edinburgh, to the Edinburgh Fringe. I did an 11-date run there. I don't know if it's useful for people to talk about that because it used to be, when I first went in 2012, going to the Edinburgh Fringe was a really useful thing as a poet. I remember getting on the train, living in Peterborough, you can get one direct train up to Edinburgh. And I used to sit on the train with my list of poems in a pad, and I'd try and work out the best order to put the poems in. And that would be working out the show, on the train up. And now I feel I get older and older. Whenever I go back, I kind of put on this additional artifice of props and costume, or like different things that probably don't make a better show than just working out your best poems and going and doing it. But this year it was a kid's show called The Big Box Bonanza. So the idea is I had 26 different boxes. They all kind of pretty weird. They open in different ways. And they each have a letter on the side, so you have to kind of work out what's going to be in the F box. What do you think? Or the W box, and you have a chat about it. And then the F box is pretty,
C box is my favourite.
Yeah, we don't open the F and U at the same time. It would be
in that order as well.
Yeah, but it's kind of carnage. And yeah, I had a really good time. I think we had pretty quiet audiences at first. But it got busier and busier and busier. And actually, I kind of realised the show doesn't work with families when it's too busy, because someone's got like a 2-year-old who's like running over and grabbing the boxes. And yeah, there was like loads of carnage and stuff. But I loved it. I thought maybe we could start with a poem that's been sent in. I think about it in relation to Edinburgh. Edinburgh's fantastic. It's a great opportunity to kind of work out your material. It gives you lots of audiences who don't really care about your work. who are seeing loads of art and they're kind of only half interested in what you're doing. I think if you can do well at Edinburgh, when you come off the back of it and go and do gigs elsewhere, they're so much easier than an Edinburgh gig. You really kind of hone your kind of storytelling in between the poems as well. But the thing I have a problem with the accessibility of venues. When I was with Gilded Balloon, it cost a family of 4 probably like 50 quid to come and see my show. And if you're up at the Edinburgh Fringe and you want to see 3 shows in a day, that's a huge expense.
Yeah,
I felt that was a bit off, so I'd stay with the PBH Fringe. I like the idea that it's totally free. I love the bucket aspect of the PBH Fringe. You don't get any money up front, hold the bucket out at the end. If it's worth something, they put the money in. It forms this very honest bond, I think, between you and the audience. So I love that. But the PBH Fringe has to kind of operate with any pub, any venue it can find to get people in. And it, like a lot of the other venues, there's not great accessibility. And so this poem was running through my head the whole time I was up at the Edinburgh Fringe. We got sent it through by Samantha Goodlett, and it's called Disabled by Bad Design.
Anyone can be disabled by bad design. The words of my tutor echo in my head many years later. Curly hair and glasses and a kind smile. He explained the social model of disability to a bunch of museum studies students. Anyone can be disabled by bad design. I hear him on the days life feels like an art gallery who commissioned some pretentious architect to design the steps that only a few people can actually climb up. An accessibility nightmare of marble and pretentiousness that probably won an award. I hear him as I ponder how I build a ramp from where I am now back up into the world. As I ponder why I have to build my own ramp. Can I even build my own ramp? And I realise I can't. I can't build it alone. If I want to ever do anything in the world ever again, I have to shake off the idea of strong, independent, getting stuff done, and find instead a different me who asks for help, who can recognise their needs as well as their limitations, who knows they deserve to access the world, even though those life art gallery steps feel like scaffold pike on the rain on some days. A me who can disown ableism, the most ingeniously disabling design of all. Anyone can be disabled by bad design. I hear his smiling voice and remember the way the light came in through the windows in the summer school classroom. Okay, so it's time to design an enabling life.
Thank you so much for that piece, Samantha.
Wicked.
It's cool, isn't it?
Superb, yeah. It's amazing, like, something has to be put together like that just to recognise the measures that aren't in place.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's really lovely.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Sam. It's a fantastic piece.
Yeah, it sort of leans into what you were saying as well, Mark, with regard to festivals and whatnot. Actually, how was Edinburgh?
Yeah, it was good. I haven't been to Edinburgh for a few years. I used to go before COVID. It used to be back in the day that when you went to Edinburgh, you could go and do a free Fringe show and like the national press would come and review you, right?
Cool.
Like you could just get lucky, and you would get loads of reviews. I remember turning up with my mate Mixie. We took our Dead Poet show up, and I think the Scotsmen were in our second show, and they gave us 4 stars.
Wicked.
And the next day, we had a full house, and we had a full house every single day. I think we got 6 4-star reviews from that run. Which I never realised how lucky we were at the time. We agreed we'd have a shot of brandy. We got some Tesco value brandy,
Nice.
and every time we got a good review, we'd have a shot of it. So we're having quite a few shots of that, and it was wild. It was really cool, and
Amazing.
I've been back a few times, but honestly, since COVID, with the increase in accommodation costs, reviewers, I think now, they tend to know what they're going to review when they arrive at the festival. The odds of them coming seeing some spoken word in like certainly a free Fringe venue, if I want to make my shows accessible for families with less income, it's tricky, right? To get those things. So I
It's a
wasn't
shame.
sure about doing it.
Because it's really cool. Like the whole thing about that festival vibe is to be able to go and just stumble across something. That's the whole thing. So actually having to be so specific about when they're going to come in to do that is a shame, really. But I mean, like you say, money and things like that is a big factor.
I feel like sometimes the comedy leads the charge in how it all operates. And because a lot of comedians get on TV, there's some big money behind it all. Edinburgh's kind of scaled up with the comedy circuit and what people can afford to pay. And then if you're in a medium like poetry, like performing poems, we don't have that kind of money coming in. Your accommodation costs could be covered by just one good TV gig, right, in the year. But for us, it takes us a huge amount. I'm very fortunate my mate Chen lets me stay at his when I go up. Oh, man, I wouldn't be able to do it.
I know Chen. I remember Chen.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I remember a long time ago you did a poem when you were kids.
Oh, but the nutmeg and stuff. Nutmeg. Seeing Chen is a good enough reason to go back anyway. So yeah, it was cool going back. But I love chatting with poets up there. And if you're listening right now, what I thought I'd share, I hope this is going to work. So I had a gig with Loud Poets, who, if you're ever up in Scotland, you should really go and see a Loud Poet show. I think their production values, the quality of what they put on is unrivaled. Anywhere in the UK, I think, to an extent. They put on great shows, really accessible, really fun, a huge variety of acts. And one of the poets I was on the bill with at their event was Gigi Bella. Now, Gigi Bella was a poet who'd come in.
Yeah, from New Mexico, right?
Yeah, with her husband. The two of them had flown over. They were waiting for their drummer to arrive because her poetry show features a live band as well.
Cool.
And loads of amazing elements. And we had a night performing on stage together, and it was immediately apparent to me that Gigi had some like really cool, exciting poems. I think were a bit different from anything I was hearing in the UK. So I asked her if it'd be okay to collar her for like a short interview. I recorded something in chat, Chris. I feel like you're going to hate this because first off, I think the audio is MP3, which I know you don't like.
What?
And secondly, it was so busy at Edinburgh, the only place I could find for us to have a chat was the Battle Bar, I think it was called, or something like that. And it's genuinely a bar that specialises in axe throwing. Like so you might hear a bit of competing noise and sound effects. But I wanted to have a chat with Gigi Bella about her work, what Edinburgh meant to her, and it was very clear that she was on quite a journey. You grew up a long way away from Edinburgh.
Yes, I did.
It was in Albuquerque.
Albuquerque.
You grew up in. What was it like growing up in Albuquerque, and how did it shape your writing?
It's funny that you're asking me that. I'm writing a book about it right now.
Okay, cool.
I'm writing about my home and where I come from, and being Mexican-American lineage is really important. Thinking about your ancestors and kind of honoring that because we have such a long history of colonization and just a lot of really brutal, weird, crazy stuff. Albuquerque is mostly known for like its crime and like the poor education system. We're like 49th out of 50 in education. Drugs are really a thing.
Yeah.
Meth is really a thing. I think mostly going across the pond and talking to anyone about American culture, where you're from, if they know anything, they know Breaking Bad. Because Breaking Bad is about Albuquerque. Breaking Bad was filmed at my high school. And I didn't have a science classroom for all of my junior year. And I'm writing about that currently, kind of diving into like how layered that is, because I was 15, 16, and they were doing a show about meth at my high school. And I had friends who got kind of dragged up into the meth problem, who would kind of follow the drug pipeline and just want to try everything. I have a friend that who was a friend of my boyfriend that I used to eat lunch with every day, who died of a meth OD. And that's pretty common, and pretty much everyone has a story like that. So it's kind of a rough place to grow up, but it's wild because New Mexico is called the land of enchantment. So it's also this like retirement haven. It's like an armchair place. There's the balloon fiesta, so you can always see hot air balloons in the sky. The international balloon fiesta is what we're known for. We're known for really good food, green chili, kind of abuelita comfort food. And it is like a very homey place. It's one of the oldest places in America that's like maintained a lot of its history. I used to give ghost tours as a job.
Oh, really?
In Old Town. And that's also like just trippy. It's just a really old place. But, you know, it also, because of the way that Mexican culture is really invested in its storytelling. And I grew up around a lot of really fantastic, amazing storytellers that I think really had an effect on who I became. So I don't know if I hadn't had that culture of oral history just surrounding me, who I would really be.
So yeah, as I said earlier on, the night before I'd been with Gigi performing for Loud Poets. It was a really fun gig. We also had a great poet called James Stedman with us. He read a hilarious piece about wanting to kind of murder someone working on a train carriage who was selling crisps and drinks and stuff. It was fantastic. If you can check out his work, I would highly recommend it. But Gigi performed this amazing piece about her experiences growing up. It was all about Taco Bell. Have a listen.
I hate it when people say that Taco Bell isn't real Mexican food, that it's disgraceful as a Mexican to eat it, a bastardization of culture and recipe books, of mourning over the fluorescent of the drive-through menu. It makes me think that they think that I must be fucking stupid. Like, I go to Taco Bell to reconnect with my ancestors, to take a Diablo bath in my heritage, to hail the cleansing powers of being baptized in the name of the Baja, the Blast, and the Holy Spirit. I can almost hear Abuelita's trembling voice through the drive-through speaker. Mija, remember where you came from? I remember when I was a little girl, my grandfather rolling out tortillas to make the family recipe for the Crunchwrap Supreme. My great-grandfather came from Mexico to work the Doritos Locos fields. They would bring him in for dinner with the ring of the Taco Bell. Mija, it is your destiny to live más or not at all. It is what we dreamed for you. I build my altar of naked chicken chalupa and beefy 5-layer burrito, pray the rosary of cinnamon twist and spicy potato soft taco. Heaven is dancing in the nacho cheese streets surrounded by a stream of sauce packets when the man at the drive-thru window fills the bottom of my bag with an abundance of hot pepper nectar. I know that I have seen God, and then I feel immediately guilty for accepting such a blessing because I deserve nothing in the eyes of God. I am simply here to worship the glow of the purple glockenspiel, to drop to my knees when the app notifies me of the second coming of Mexican pizza. Oh, holy Messiah, defeater of the tomb, I will sing your praises until my earthly body is scorched, ashes to ashes, Dorito dust to Dorito dust. Okay, so I know I am a Mexican with an unreasonable amount of adoration for the bell, but when I was a kid, I remember my entire 6-person family gathered around the table for dinner, splitting up tacos soft and crunchy, an expression of my parents' love, or maybe just all they had to give. Taco Bell is the most Mexican thing I have ever eaten because it was the only thing cheap enough to feed all of us. And isn't that the most Mexican shit ever? Is our joy not allowed to blossom from the things that give us breath? Defiance of the America that only wants us capitalism killed. God bless the $5 box. The time that my brother wanted a beefy 5-layer burrito but said 5E instead, and the whole car was a raucous laughter parade, a Baja Blast to float in when my wallet is empty, but my hot sauce heart is still full of fight. I do not care if I am not authentic enough for you. Most authenticity leads to cages at the border being reduced to that one taco plate from that one place, you know, the one where the mariachi band plays, where they grind guac at the side of the table. The only thing authentic enough for you is our suffering. Fuck that. My Mexicana is what I say it is. It's 5 Mexican pizzas a week. It's my mom's smile. It's horchata and marigolds at the Taco Bell cantina. I order a yard of frozen Baja Blast. I dance outside of a wedding. I am more alive than you want me to be. I live más. Thank you.
Gigi, everybody!
After the gig with Loud Poets, we went for the customary pint down the local pub. And Gigi chatted to me about how hard it's been to get this tour going, just how seriously she's taking it.
It's really tough because I like to hang out and sling a few drinks. It's really fun, but I know that that's not what I came here to do. I also I'm chronically ill. I have long COVID, and I suffer from nerve pain and weird, my breathing is weird, so people call it like sips of air. Like sometimes I can't take a deep breath all the way.
Okay.
Prior to all of this, I had heard like so many people describe Edinburgh as the third largest performing arts festival, or the third largest like gathering in the world, right under the Olympics and the World Cup. So
yeah.
I told people who were asking me about it, I'm going to the Olympics for performance. And I started treating it like that. So I was like, cool, if I was an Olympic performer, what would I be doing right now? And I ordered a really dumb stair stepper off of TikTok, and I started doing stair steps in my house, and I started doing Taylor Swift cardio every morning, and dunking my face in a bowl of ice when I woke up in the morning.
Wow.
It always like got me woken up and ready to like do the things, and I didn't feel groggy and weird, and I felt like I'd slept. It was a weird trick.
And you started doing these things because you knew you were going to Edinburgh, and that was the...
Yes.
Wow.
And it was because I was having such a hard time breathing on stage, and I was having such a hard time, like I was just sweating and couldn't catch my breath, and I just felt out of it. And I also just wanted my body to be in a better place and give my immune system a fighting chance around all these people, and not have to mask the whole time and not have to compromise. And I'm happy to say that it worked. I started eating a little better too, trying to heal my gut. Yeah, I just did all of that to prepare. I think I kind of got mixed up in all the logistics towards the end, so I didn't do as well keeping up with it like right towards getting here. I was really just like, where's the money? Where's the tickets? But I think that during the run, I might try to do some of that here, just like in the days, because my show's at night. Money, like raising the money to be here, was entirely on me. And I applied for every grant I could. I applied for scholarships. I talked to donors. I shook hands. I like did everything I could do. And I'm kind of saddened and also proud to say that we don't have a single one of those things backing us to get here. I did not get a single grant I applied for. I did not have any like super major contributing donors. I had people who helped, but it's like amazing people, other poets who are like passing around the same $20. It's not, the people who could be helping. So I'm the first person to ever bring a solo show from New Mexico. They just kind of turned their nose up at it. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. So I started looking for any work I could get. I learned how to sew. I started making Taylor Swift Eras Tour outfits and selling them to girls to wear to the concert. Raised a lot of money doing that. And then I started getting background work on TV shows.
Okay.
That was how I was making money. It sounds fun. It's really grueling. It's really hard work, and it's long days, and you're definitely just cattle, and it's crazy. I've been on a lot of sets now and can say that I've like done that, but it is a lot of your time, and when you're an artist and you can see the other artists like working, but you're not a part of that, it's really, really hard. So
how important is the connection with the audience for you?
Oh my God, it's everything. I never planned really to do a solo show, but I had been in New York doing little 15-minute sets here and there, and in those sets I would play a funny song, or I would kind of just break it up because I had seen a lot of people just talking forever, and it was boring.
Gigi first got the idea for the show she's brought to the festival, Big Feelings, when she was approached to put a set together for a comedy festival.
I did my show for the first time at the Albuquerque Funny Fiesta, which is a comedy festival. I don't consider myself a comedian, but comedy's a weird field. I respect it, but it's just not, I don't consider myself a comedian.
Okay.
But I applied to be on this comedy festival because I was around a lot of comedians, and was coming out of COVID, and poetry was really slow to get back after COVID. People were not putting on poetry events or going.
Same here.
So I was like, I just want to perform. I'm just itching. Like, I just want to do anything I can do. And I knew I had funny poems, and I knew they might put me in a variety show or something. So I applied, and they got back to me, and they were like, hey, we want to give you 45 minutes in your own theater to do whatever you want. So I made this show. I decided to do all these onstage costume changes and have a live band and do entirely too much. And everyone at the festival was like, we gave her time to do a reading, and then she showed up and it was David Bowie, and it was crazy. I was like, well, I don't want it to be over. I worked really hard on this thing, and now it's just here, and like, what do I do with it? So I think I literally Googled, what do you do with a solo show?
So Gigi had this great response to her performance. How much has the show changed since then to Edinburgh?
Oh, it's changed like quite a bit, I would say. I mean, it's been 2 years in development. And I really, the first time, threw a lot of stuff together and was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. My drummer that I've chosen for the show, it's like praying that he can get here today. He looked at me after the first time we did the show together, and he was like, why are you bringing me? It's so wildly expensive to like bring a person versus like finding a person. But I was like, here's the thing. I really want to trust the people I'm up there with, and it affects the dynamic of everything that's going on, and I involve them, and they're there. My whole conceit is they're up there with me, and we're Gigi, Bella, and the mental illness. That's our band. So my depression's on the drums, and my anxiety is on the guitar, and my anxiety is helping me change costumes, and that's what it is. So they're in it. I mean, it's a one-woman show, but they're around, and they're important, and I needed the right person. So the band changed, the pieces kind of shifted. I had to make it shorter. I really worked on time because I didn't want to go over time. Here, I know that's like really disrespectful, so I've heard.
How many different costumes do you wear in the show?
11.
Wow. So that's one costume on average every 5 minutes of the show, basically.
Just about, yeah.
Wow.
So I do a poem, I put on a new costume. I do a poem, I put on a new costume. That's kind of the deal.
Okay.
So when I'm teaching writing workshops, I have a word that I made up that I like to use. It's called specificity. Breaks down to specificity creates relatability. So the more specific you are, the more relatable you are. I think people think if we're broad and we're doing Justin Bieber and we're like, baby, 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 thought you'd always be mine, that's relatable because everybody feels that. And fine, fair enough. But to get underneath the skin of that, you have to be really, really honest. And to be really, really honest, you have to be really, really specific about what happened. And that's hard to do, but that's what makes it your poem and your voice, and distinctly only yours. I love that I get on stage and talk about Taco Bell, and then afterwards people come running up to me and they're like, I'm gonna go get Taco Bell. That's me. Nobody else is doing it. So, I think that that's more important to me than necessarily like winning, and I think the connection with the audience comes from that. From them being like, oh, I felt like that, I've had Taco Bell to me is a distinctly Mexican poem. It's about my Mexican heritage, my family, and growing up poor. But I've had all kinds of white people come up to me and be like, that was my life. Like, I love Taco Bell because I've got Taco Bell on, the $3.25 I had in my wallet, and it saved my life. And, I had a man come up to me and say, my Italian grandfather comes to America from Italy, and all he wants to do is go to Olive Garden. He was like, so I really related with what you said. And it just was really way farther reaching than I thought it was going to be.
That's cool.
Yeah. Facebook's been more useful than I ever really could have imagined. I really thought it was going to be Instagram and emailing people and like that kind of thing, but it's been Facebook for me. About a year ago on the dot, maybe like the second week of August, I started reaching out to people, and I put a post in the Edinburgh performers forum and was like, how early is too early to be reaching out to a venue? And I got a comment from a guy, and he was like, it's not too early, reach out to me now. So I reached out to him, we chatted. That guy ended up being my venue. That was a year ago. And I found my housing that way. I've connected with a lot of really great other performers and press and people. I mean, when I see things, I send a message. It's really scary to send messages and be like, hey, and put yourself out there, but it's kind of like pre-internet flyering.
Yeah.
You're just doing it before you get here. That's really it. So I had a good press kit. I got a producer through Facebook.
Okay.
He's great. He's amazing. He's worked on the Fringe 14 years or something, and he's just been wonderful. So can't recommend the Facebook groups enough. That's really where I've gotten majority of my information.
We're pretty much out of time now. I need to go and perform my show. Gigi needs to start flyering. But I ask her if there's anything she wants to say just to wrap up.
I think as far as advice or anything I've learned about how to do it, I don't really know how one person even. I'm not even really sure how I'm here right now. I'm kind of just in a lucid dream. I think the most important thing is to just not quit. That's really it. You really believe in what you have to say here and what you're bringing here. The first thing they kind of ask you, on the website and everywhere else, is what do you want to get out of this? What does it matter to you? And I thought about that really early on, and that was when I determined if it was going to be worth all the work. Because I was like, I might be performing to 2 people. Yeah. And frankly, I'm kind of performing to 2 people at home. It's really hard to get people to care. So I was like, what's the difference, man? What does it matter? But then I thought about it, and I was like, well, I can always say I did it. I can say that I'm an international performer. It's kind of the next step up from everything else I'm doing. I don't want to compete anymore. I also really am interested in pushing poetry forward and redefining how it can look on stage. Because I think that right now, it doesn't look cool. And I want it to look fucking cool. I want teenagers to see it and be like, that. I want to do that.
How did that go, Chris? What do you think?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, amazing.
It's pretty exciting. So Gigi has just finished her run at the Edinburgh Fringe, I can tell you now. She got some great reviews, and I've seen videos of people dancing in the show. 11 costume changes in one show with a live band is definitely a poetry show people are going to remember. So yeah, well done, Gigi. I think you've had a fantastic run. Chris, have you enjoyed the submissions we've had so far from people?
I have actually. Yeah, it's been quite eclectic, different mix of content. It's great for me because I get to hear it there and then. It's really cool.
We've got quite a lot in the tank. Thank you so much. Everyone's been emailing us with work. It's mark@wethepoets.com. I know that we have enough material for our next episode. We've got Jess Green coming in, and we've got some great pieces we're going to be able to share with you then. We then have 2 more episodes that we need submissions for. So one episode coming up soon, we are looking at music, creating work that either fuses with music in some way, whether you're an MC or whether you're a poet who's using some soundscapes. We would love to hear some work with some music. You like a bit of music concrete?
I do like it, mate. I do.
So if you've got anything that relates to music or just about music in some way, we would love to get those submissions. Please send them to mark@wethepoets.com. We tend to think about 2 to 2.5 minutes is a really good length for pieces to be on, but obviously if they're longer, we'll listen to them. We'll definitely see what we can do. Send that over. And then finally, we do have a final episode of this series coming up, which is going to be our X-rated episode. Filth. We've got, I think, 4 pieces so far for it, but we've definitely got room for a couple more. And if you've got something that's a bit cheeky, we will definitely look to put it out. So yeah, if you've got anything for our X-rated episode or a take on that theme, please feel free to send it through. If you've got any questions you'd like to ask, send them through as well. We'll try and include some of these questions in the coming weeks. We have got Jess Green next. We've got Joshua Idahan after that. And I think we've even got A.F. Harold coming on later on to talk about writing a novel that then gets picked up by Netflix and made into an animated movie, which is a huge achievement. So yeah, we're really excited about the rest of the series. Chris,
we're done, right?
What a nice little chat this has been.
It's all right, isn't it? It's been quite nice.
Yeah.
It's quite nice being on this side of the studio. It's a bit unusual, but it's cool.
Yeah. What are you having for lunch?
I'm going to have some yogurt with some granola.
Well, there we go.
I know, I'm living the dream. Mark.
Yeah, that's why you're getting so slim, man.
I know, it's because of just starvation, yeah.
I'm going to go have a slab of lard.
Oh, that sounds all right.
Guys, it's been so nice to be here with Chris. I'm off to Hong Kong.
Nice.
Next week for a few weeks, and then Vietnam. So I'll be back in a bit, but I will be checking the emails. And thank you so much if you're listening for being on the journey with us. We've really enjoyed this little kind of midpoint catch up.
Really cool.
And let's get going with the second half of the series.
Lovely.
This episode of We the Poets has been a cosy little one with just myself, Mark Grist, and Chris Barn prior to his yogurt and granola feast. It's been recorded here at Backland Studios in Oundle. If you're in the area and you're looking to record anywhere, you should get in contact with Chris. It's a phenomenal studio. And this series was made possible thanks to public funding from Arts Council England. Thank you so much for listening.